Not much. I'm super excited to see lots of faces here behind the scene that are going to be gifting us with some knowledge here shortly. So, welcome everyone. It's Happy Friday here in the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind community.
Cool. So we got a rock star cast here, a little different than normal. I've got Chuck Iverson, executive from the mortgage industry and co-chair of the Mortgage Innovation Conference in San Diego. What's up, Chuck? You're muted, Chuck.
Good morning. Yeah, you can see I'm a rookie at some things, like talking. Good morning.
Right
Thanks
on.
for having me on, Dave. Appreciate it.
Good. Well, it's good to have you, my friend. I'll bring you in the second half, and we'll talk about what it means to be a mortgage innovator. We've got Denise Donoghue coming from Dallas, Texas. What's up, Denise?
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
The mortgage nerd. Gotta love the glasses in the background. Branding anytime and all the time. So Denise, we've got Jeremy traveling in an airport, so we're gonna get him on. We're gonna suck as much information out of his brain as we can. Feel free to jump in and dogpile on Jeremy, but let's kick things off with J-Force. Jeremy Forcier, unmute yourself, and what's up, dog?
What is up, homies? Ironically, Denise, I am at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, so Jeremy Forcier coming to you from Dallas as well.
What?
Yeah, so
I love it.
Repping a little super nice club. Please show that hat.
Gotta be super nice.
Yeah. So guys, one of Jeremy's good friends, one of my close friends for life, Todd Brilliant. This is a brand of his and a project of his. Go to superniceclub.com and buy something. Get a hat, get a shirt, buy a sticker, represent. So Jeremy, I know you're always super nice, but aside from that, what else are you right now?
I'm super crazy, super busy. I feel like I'm in a time travel. Whenever I travel, I don't know what times are anywhere else. It's the weirdest thing. I was texting Dave, you guys, this morning, like 2 hours before the call, thinking it started 2 hours ago. So, no, I'm doing great, man. I'm super busy. I'm on my way to Mexico for the weekend. Quick getaway. It's important that no matter how busy you are, that you take a couple days a month to refresh and recharge. So, yeah, that's what's going on.
How many lows did you close last month?
I closed 36 last month.
Boom. Sweet. And what do you think you got going in the month of August?
I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 45, which is something I want to talk about with people, is that when it refis happen, right, Dave, like you can't worry so much about a close of escrow date, right? You just got to keep piling them in, and then they close when they close. Of course, you want to close them quickly. But at the end of the day, staying focused on purchase business is still my number one priority. But it's great, man. Yeah, we're crushing it right now. It's a lot of fun.
So we're gonna just roll into that question. But how long do we have you on this call, just so I can kind of pull what we need to?
I think I can be on the whole time because I'm an idiot, like I said earlier. I think I got to the airport super early. I think I got plenty of time.
Okay. So you're good. So it's not like we got 15 minutes with you. Okay. Well, then let's do this. Let's go back and forth with you and Denise. I want to bring Chuck in the second half of the call, but why don't you go first with, you said how you are prioritizing the purchase wave with your core purchase business. Speak to us. Like, what does that mean and what are you doing?
So, I mean, listen, I think that if you're going to have a client for life, mindset, you have to do refinances, and it's your job to reach out to people and make sure there's opportunity. But refis come in waves. It's not like you send out an email blast and then all of a sudden you have 300 applications, right? Because A, it's not manageable. B, it won't work because you'll have severe fallout. And C, it's just not realistic. So I'll take more of a sniper approach when I take a look at refis and reaching out to people. And quite frankly, I haven't even done like a big reach out to anyone yet. And that is the truth. I've just been snipering. I have automatic quarterly check-in tasks for my clients. I started doing that, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. So literally every day, you guys, if you saw my task list right now, I have like 42 people to potentially reach out to anyway. So I'm doing that. I'm reaching out to the people, the quarterly check-in, see how they're doing. Is there anything I can do to help them? Did you know rates are lower? Maybe we can take a look at a refinance, et cetera. So I'm doing that. I also just went back a year and a half, like the last 18 months, And I pulled that data because the people that you have helped more recently are going to be easier to refinance. I hope everyone understands that. The people that you help more recently are going to be easier to refinance. The relationship is still fresh. There's not a bunch of principal paid down on the loan yet. It's a lot easier to do a rate reduction, have it make sense over the life of the loan. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. So I'm taking my time. I am being thoughtful, but I already have a system in place to follow up with people. And little generic stuff, you guys, like just mailing to your database monthly, as crazy as that sounds. Like, so I mail to my database every month, have for 10 years. People are calling me just for my mailer that has nothing to do with refi, right? And so doing stuff like that, that's my refi right now. Like how I'm targeting it. I'm not doing really anything too special, but I do have big plans in the future because it's going to go in waves.
Got it. So Denise, I'm going to want you to ask Jeremy a question in a minute. And then we're going to talk about how you're balancing it and what you're doing to reach out. But Jeremy, let's talk about how you use a mortgage coach with refis. You know, do you like the new advice engine? If you like it, which I hope you do, I hope the answer is yes. You know, what do you like best about it? I want to make sure people know that, you know, there are some new ways to use Mortgage Coach to accelerate how fast you create a TCA. So
Yeah,
if you could speak to that.
For sure. So number one, yeah, it's phenomenal, bro. Like I absolutely love it. And Dave, you know more than anyone, I don't like change when it comes to something that works really well in a process for me already. I resist it. And you know that about me. I just do. I'm like, oh, I have a thing. It works really good. I'm a great pecker. I don't need templates. Like I can get through faster than anyone just by entering in info. And I was blown away as to the advice engine and the ease of use to set up templates, scenario templates, and just to click a button when you're in the middle of making something and have all that information populate is phenomenal. And then even my Neanderthal way of doing it, it's just faster. It's faster. It looks better. Yeah, it's great. It's just easy to use and it looks phenomenal. So we're still using it every single time, every single client, like always. I had someone ask me at dinner last night if I could send them an Excel sheet that they could use with their clients so they can put in different scenarios. And I almost fell on the ground laughing. No, number one, you don't want that. Number two, you got to use Mortgage Coach. And number three, you're not going to take the time to fill out an Excel sheet every time to populate everything anyway. So no, I've been a big fan of it so far. Yes, I'm absolutely using it 100% of the time. I'm using it on my mobile.
Strategy templates? Oh, go ahead with what you're doing on mobile. I got to hear that.
Yeah, I'm using the mobile more than ever right now, just because I seem to be on the run all the time, and people want things quickly. And so the mobile has been phenomenal for me to use. Editing, updating, it's so easy. I mean, it's been really, really great. The strategy templates I've used twice. I haven't figured it out quite yet, so I just need to spend a little bit more time. And it seems super simple, but I haven't really dove into that quite yet.
Okay, so real quick, guys, and then Denise, hand off to you and bring you into the conversation. Everybody, you've got to create these strategy templates, and it's super easy to do. But for all the scenarios that you do most often, rate and term refi, cash out refi, MI options, FHA versus conventional, Jeremy, you do an interest rate purchase options, where you're always showing like high, low, medium. You should have a template for that. Down payment options, you should have a template for that. So strategy templates, and real quick, guys, it's as easy as going into an existing TCA. So going into that, like, let's say you spent a minute in Jeremy's case, 5 minutes in normal human being case, and you created a scenario. Now you just click, yes, I want that to be a strategy template, and boom, that will now show up under your strategy templates. So real quick, just wanted to make sure everyone got that, because guys, it's a speed race right now. I mean, it's raining loans. We have to balance purchase and refi. So Denise, let's go to you. Any questions you have or comments you have from what Jeremy just shared?
I just love the sniper approach because, and I actually met you, Jeremy, the first time at a Todd Duncan thing, and then I think at a core thing. And the sniper approach, because when you've been in the business for an extended period of time and you have a CRM and you have a database, if you pull that trigger along with being in August, which is always my biggest month, and that's the month where every agent wants a rush because we're trying to get in before the school year. It's like, I'm grateful for the insanity right now, but purchase has always got to take priority because your realtors are your annuity of income. And so if you send a mass email out to your entire database about refis, and you better be ready to catch all that. And so I do think and believe in the strategy approach of being a sniper and being strategic in that, because you got to be careful what you wish for, because you can't let your purchase business fall. So it is a juggling act. And I just wanted to say kudos to that, because I totally agree with it.
Cool. And then I know, Denise, one of the things that made you so top of mind with me, I mean, we did the first time home buyer strategy, how you're going consumer direct with first time buyers. And I do want to make sure we talk about that in today's conversation, because I mean, your first time home buyer videos are the best I've seen. And I think it's an important consumer first strategy to get leads in today's market. But that video that you did on your Facebook story yesterday, where you just showed up as a mortgage advisor, where you were like, hey, I did 20, what did you call them? Mortgage analysis?
Mortgage analysis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mortgage analysis. And what was it you said? I helped 9 families figure out that it didn't make sense to refi, and I helped 11 families figure it out. Was that the number?
Yeah, in our world, if you were to pay attention to every loan officer's newsfeed, or every, you pull up an article, and I'm sure we all have clients sending us the articles that they just read about interest rates. I always think it's important that you have to jump on and inform the masses of what's going on. They actually expect and rely on you to do that, especially if you position yourself up front in a transaction that you are a mortgage advisor. We do annual asset reviews every single year. I watched your video with Wally like a year ago, and that's a tweet that he made a year ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm committed to doing it every single year. And so I positioned myself up front that I'm a mortgage advisor, but I'm all about playing the differentiator game where everyone goes right. I love to be the one that goes left. I've kind of always been rebellious like that. So my story that I got on there to talk about was that, yes, rates are low, the lowest that they've been in a long time, but that doesn't always mean it makes financial sense to refinance. And so while everyone's saying refi, call me to refi, I go with the angle of, does a refinance make sense? Does a 1-point rate reduction make sense? Well, if it's a $100,000 loan and you're going to be there for 2 years, it probably doesn't. And so I went with the angle of, let me crunch the numbers. I'm a mortgage advisor. That's what I do. Before you have your credit pulled and all that jazz, you can send me your mortgage statement, or I created a landing page and I bought a domain address that's called taketherefiquiz.com, because it's marketable on your social media platforms. And I say, send me your mortgage statement, or go to www.taketherefiquiz.com, answer those 10 simple questions, and I'll crunch the numbers for you to see if it makes sense to take that next step and apply. Because most people, they don't want that credit pull. If I look at a statement, and to Jeremy's point, if you've got people in your database that bought between the time periods of 2012 and I'd say probably 2016, there's not going to be a big benefit in a refi because those rates were so low. So I'm going after the sweet spot of the last 2 years. Anybody that purchased last year, rates got ugly last year. I'm targeting those people first because I've got all their docs on file. I pretty much only need an updated W-2 and pay stub. If I've got a VOE on them, I can just easily reorder it if it's the same employer. So, that's where I think the top producers excel, is because you got to market yourself and be different. You have to be a mortgage advisor and inform your clients, because they'll be pissed if you didn't, because they rely on you for it. And then 3, you've got to be able, like you said, time and speed is in the name of the game. So I like to request people to send me a mortgage statement or take the refi quiz, because if you're not going to put an ounce of sweat equity into determining this, then neither am I. And so some of the loan officers within our company, they're running mortgage analysis. They're doing the Mortgage Coach Edge thing up front before even having a combo. And I'm like, well, that's not really a smart use of your time. You got to gauge them out first, because otherwise you're spending time doing all this work on people that probably wouldn't even go through the effort of filling out an application. So I do think when we're in a boom that we're in the busiest time of year for purchases, you've got to be strategic.
So Denise, how many loans did you close last month?
42.
And what do you think you're going to close this month?
57.
What? So first of all, your perspective is different than a loan officer who's, averages 3 to 5 loans, a month. So, and, the 3 to 5 month a loan officer has more time to prospect. But I definitely love your scripting, and I love how you're getting the statement. So let's do this. I would love to have you just do like a minute. Like if you were going to update your story today, I know you did it yesterday, so you're not going to do it again, but I want people to hear that script because your story is gone and they're going to miss it. And it was sweet. And then I'm going to give Todd Bookspan the chance to ask questions and drive this. And then Jeremy, play off of what Denise shares, and we'll do a little round robin. So do you mind just giving us the 1 minute and literally kind of give the tone, how you show up, like give people what does it feel like to be in your stream today?
Here we go. What's going on, Facebook fam? All right, many of you guys know that interest rates are at an all-time low. But just because interest rates are down doesn't always mean it makes sense to refinance. You've got to run the numbers. I'll tell you, I've been crunching out refinance analysis. I think I did a total of 22 analysis in the last 24 hours. That's why my hair looks the way that it does. But out of those 22, there were 9 of those where it actually didn't make sense for them to refinance. And we didn't know that until we actually crunched the numbers. And my advice to them was, hey, this doesn't make sense for you right now. But the other portion of them, man, we saved them a ton of money a month. A bunch of them, we could remove their PMI insurance. We could correct their escrow shortage. So if you have had the lingering question of seeing all these advertisements of rates being down, but is it the right time to refinance? You know who to call. You can call 447-NERD. You can email me your mortgage statement, or you can go to www.taketherefiquiz.com and I'll get your results out to you soon. Y'all take care.
Boom. So I'm going to give one commentary and then Jeremy, then Todd. So first of all, that was awesome. Thank you, Denise. Huge gift to the mortgage coach community. I want to remind everybody that's doing refi TCAs, and I'm not saying do this every time, but it's a move. Like if you don't have the move that, hey, here's your current monthly payment, here's your new monthly payment. And if you took that payment and repaid your mortgage, look at, it's even more savings, like you're blowing it up and you're showing them how they can pay off their loan faster and build wealth with real estate faster. Make sure that you know how and when to do that. Denise, how often do you do that, and when do you do that, and when do you not do that?
So I am real nerdy in the sense of before I got into this business in 2012, many of you guys know I had my financial licenses investing people's money in the stock market. So my brain is in part stocks and bonds and making money that way. And so sometimes I will run an analysis that shows the reinvestment strategy, but then other times I show them the compound effect of your money and being invested in the market, although not certain, but whether it's invested or saved up for another investment property, when rates are this low and you calculate the tax effective rate of a mortgage rate, which means rates are like 3.25, depending on the tax bracket, it's the cheapest money you can borrow. Where do you put that extra principal payment? Into your principal, or do you put it in an account in a conservative mutual fund that's earning 5% interest? And then I show them, I use the savings reinvestment where I show them if you put that, reinvested in that savings calculator. So anyways, the short answer is you'd be surprised if I'm talking to a millennial, I actually advise them a different investment strategy than necessarily dumping it into their mortgage. If they're not good savers, it's always put it into your mortgage, and you can have that freedom point a lot quicker. But I get real nerdy on that stuff. So
that's perfect. That's your answer. And by the way, that is the right answer. Like, give tailored advice. But here's my point. Don't just be a transaction-based loan officer, because if all they're going to get is monthly payment, cash to close, and here's your monthly savings, everybody can do that. Not everybody can show the savings over time, and not everybody can show, you know, prepay versus invest. So boom.
Well, and I think if you do that, if you're the loan officer and you use this analogy all the time, you post it where it's like technology isn't going to eliminate our position. It's going to just really increase the gap between the advisors versus the non. I always tell people, if you're a loan officer and you're just here's your rate, here's your term, then you're really no different than the online lenders or the Quicken people, because that's what they offer. And I guarantee you, if you're not at those companies, your rates are probably higher and you're not offering them anything of value to keep that client to charge them that higher rate. So you got to change your game and become more knowledgeable, or, you know, it definitely will get tougher and more frustrating for you.
So Denise, one last thing, and I don't want you to answer because I want to get Jeremy in this call right now. But if you do have a refi where you've done some of that, like if you could pull it up or share it in the group later, or we may have time before this call's out for you to actually show what you do there. So I'll let you multitask if you can.
Okay.
And Jeremy, you're back in the game. Any questions or comments to what Denise just said?
Oh my God, comments. I'm in mortgage love with her. Holy mackerel, what a rock star. Like that, you're just killing it and so incredible. Yeah. So I think the advice-based practice is for sure where it's at. I would love to talk about a couple of things real quick, Dave. One is the conversation piece that you guys were just going through of having to offer something different. It's like, hey, rates are low, here's 3.5, right? Or and quoting that way and getting people's attention, right? So when you're calling people, you guys, to refi and you're trying to show them things, I like to use sayings like, hey, I would love to hop on the phone with you and show you how you can save $186,000 in mortgage payments. Hey, I would love to show you on a cash out refinance how I can get you a free kitchen. They're always like, well, what do you mean a free kitchen? Well, do you want to remodel your kitchen? Yeah, actually I do. Awesome. Well, I can show you take some little bit of cash out right now of your house, keep your payment exactly the same, and we'll get you the kitchen that you want. Having those type of hooks and conversations are really important. And to Mortgage Nerd's point, which I just love that so much, it's so cool. To her point, she's really good at hooks in video. I mean, I can tell like instantly I need to learn a lot from her. I'm pretty good in hooks and subject lines of email. That's kind of my, like, I like that. Like I sent out an email to, 15 different people last week that I sniper targeted that said, watch this video because you might not need to refinance. Or no, excuse me, it said the reason why you don't need to refinance right now. Every single person opened the video. Every single person contacted me back. And then the video was about like why you should refinance, right? Or why you shouldn't, and about the analysis. So I think that going out with hooks are important. But so far we've been talking all about like big databases basically, right? And there's a lot of people out there, you guys, that don't have a giant database of people. And I was at the airport 2 days ago with one of my loan officers traveling to Dallas for this event. And he was kind of going, yeah, I know that's great. You have a big database. He's been in the business 2 years, doing a great job, closing 5 to 8 units a month, but he doesn't do any refis. And he's like, I just don't have a database. So I said, dude, you don't need a database. So we were standing in line in Southwest. I go, watch, this is how it works. I tapped the guy next to me, just like this. I said, hey, do you own a house? And he said, yes. And I go, that's cool. Do you know the interest rates are super low? He said, yeah, I heard about it. I go, that's great. Hey, I would love the opportunity to show you how to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Would you be interested in that? He goes, yes. I go, awesome. I gave him my card. I got his contact info. And I turned to Brad and go, see, bro, that's all you got to do. So I want you guys to know that there's lots of opportunity. If you don't have a giant database, you can literally ask people. You can walk around this airport right now and ask people if you can help them, and people will be receptive if you are kind and you're not creepy and you're just starting a conversation. You can add some value. So don't think that you need some gigantic database, right, to do refinances. You don't. I built my whole career at the beginning, the first 3 years, knew no one where I lived, was brand new loan officer, and I literally would go to the gym every day, and I would make phone calls from the gym shower area, and I would ask people if I could do a mortgage review for them. So if I can do that, anyone can do that. So I just want to point that out, Dave, that you don't need a giant database in order to generate refinances. Just connect with people.
Wow. Don't be creepy, be kind, and have big energy like Jeremy. And wear a super nice hat. So Todd,
Yes,
I have
was
been,
wearing a super nice hat.
yeah, Todd, to you, because I have been hogging the host role for the first half of the call. So your turn,
Oh,
brother.
you know I'll always interrupt you if I have something but you had such great flow and everyone's crushing it. So I love seeing what Jeremy and Denise are doing. First, I got to give a quick plug because you guys are hearing two people who've done a fabulous job of creating systems and annual mortgage review processes. And I'm doing, by popular demand, my How to Get More Refis Now, Set Up Your Annual Mortgage Review Strategy webinar again next Tuesday at noon Pacific. Just go to winbynoon.com/calendar. And join me. I would love to teach you that. So I would love to hear from you two. One of the things you said, Dave, in the setup was that, how are they balancing their time, right? And so Denise already said, hey, I'm really super focused on my purchase business. We had Dan Keller on a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of said, hey, I'm a purchase loan officer from 9 to 5, and I do refis after 5. I would love to hear from you guys. Two things. Number one is, how are you structuring all these calls, right? Jeremy, 42 calls in a day. That seems like it would make my head explode, is what a lot of people are thinking, number one. And then number two is, how are you guys setting up those people that you can't refi now for their next refinance? What's that conversation like when you can't help them? And are you using that to set up a target rate or something down the road? I think that would be helpful for the crew watching.
Cool.
I don't know if Jeremy's gone. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Ladies first.
So actually I saw that video with Dan Keller, and that's a lot of how my world has been over the last few weeks. Is it's purchase 8 to 5, and you're grinding, at night. Fortunately, I wake up early. I've got a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old. So I wake up early, I go to the gym, crank some stuff out, but I have developed a process and a system around the refis, and I've shared with my team. We created a challenge where if we do a certain amount of refis, then we'll get together and actually said, if I database mined and get 10 refis, then they have to cook me dinner in a chef apron and chef hat. So we try to make it fun. They might poison that dinner though, now that I think about it, but just kidding. But I also let them know that out of the 12 months out of the year, this is where insanity is. I would say about 45 to 60 days out of the entire year that we're in is where it's just pure madness. And so that might mean longer days. That might mean we're more stressed out. That might mean we're short-tempered with one another. And so let's acknowledge that and just know that this is a temporary moment of time, and let's grind, because we all get paid when we close deals. And so it's kind of like this is what we do. So it's definitely not just me. It's even my whole team that are all hands on deck. Let's bring them in, because our fall last year was so pathetic and painful that I'm like, let's not go back to that last fall, because if we do, there could be somebody in this room that's not here next year because the production's down. And so I think you got to keep your team motivated, because refinances are harder transactions. There are more variables that can pop up and curveballs that can pop up throughout the process. So it's not only keeping your team motivated, but knowing and explaining to your man or your wife and your kids, like, we're going to be grinding right now. I was on a family vacation last week, and I put the baby down, spent time with the family, but then, from 10, 11, 12, I'm the only one up on my laptop on the couch grinding. And that's the nature of the business we're in. There's a lot of freedoms that come with it, but it's 60 days. And I was, not to take up too much time, but I thought this was really cool. I was listening to a Tom Ferry podcast the other day, and one of the real estate agents he had on there said that he was talking and saying, as a real estate agent, you can make like NFL type money. If you apply yourself, you can actually make that kind of money. But do you train like an NFL player? Are you doing 2-a-days? Are you up, And so it just kind of set with me that, like, we are training right now. And when it rains, you got to get out there and take it, and let your family know and let your team know. But it's going to be 60 days of chaos, but let's get after it.
I think that's huge. I love the leadership of making sure that you're telling your team what's going on. And I love the leadership at home too. I think that's so critical. What about you, Jeremy?
Very similar, again, but one thing that I've done with it, that I've noticed with my team, I'd say, is that So the last 60 days have been insane. Okay. So June, July, and now August is just absolutely insane. And what I do notice though, you guys, is you have people that work for you, and we all have people that work for us, whether we think so or not, processors, people, openers, even if they're not on your personal team, is that everyone's going to rise. Okay. Everyone's going to rise to whatever bar you set, and people can do way more than they think they can do. I can do way more than I think I can do every day. I know that there's always a lot more. So everyone was going to have a meltdown about a month ago, right? But we're going to close, 28% or 30% more loans this month, and no one's working overtime, right? It's weird. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, people will just rise up if you push through, but you have to communicate that to them, as Denise said. I'm communicating with them all the time. Like, you guys, we're so lucky for this to happen. We're so blessed. I know it's hard. All good things come when it's hard. This is going to be great. And then all of a sudden it's normal, and everyone's just working on a much higher level. The vibrations are higher and everything's cooking. But you got to really pour into your ops people. That includes your corporate people, you guys. Like, I'm sending thank you notes to head of production, to head of underwriting, to the closing people. I'm buying them lunch. They don't work in my office, but they are so grateful. And then they raise their level up. They raise their game up. They rise up. Their bar raises. I think it's super duper duper important for us to do that. Now, as far as managing the time, Todd, between purchase and refi, I don't really block it out different. It's not like I'm only working on purchase during the day and then refi at night, but I'm definitely working more. Okay. So I'm probably working 5 to 10 hours more a week than I usually do. But number two is that it gives you an opportunity to really analyze how much can you get out of a day. Can I take my 30-minute call appointments and make them 15 and then do 2 of them? Can I take them into 10-minute segments and get 3 of them in a half hour? Like, how many appointments can I actually do? How much juice can I squeeze out of the orange? That's one aspect of it. And then for prospecting realtors, when I'm super crazy busy, okay, like I am right now, it's really simple. Call real estate agents and ask them if you can refi their house, you guys. It's not a complicated thing. So it's a double whammy. Prospect them. Hey, I would love to get together. I'd love to work with you. Hey, do you happen to own a house? Rates are super low. I'd love to give you a complimentary mortgage with you. I'm doing 4 refis right now for realtors. By just calling them, that's prospecting realtors, right? You get referrals from them for purchases. And if you can do their loan, awesome, double whammy. The second tactic to keep my purchase business up when I'm really, really busy is that rather than prospecting new agents that I truly don't have any relationship with and it's more of a cold call, I'm really targeting the listing agents I'm currently in contract with and really trying to go above and beyond and pour into them. I'm happy to share some tips and secrets if you guys want. Really pour into them so that I can get that business because I'm already talking to them on a weekly basis. And then I'm just calling the previous 2 months listing agents on purchases I close that I don't work with and marketing it that way. So that keeps my purchase prospecting up still without having to spend an exorbitant amount of time and being very targeted on what I'm doing.
So guys,
go ahead, Dave.
Todd, yeah, let me go for a minute because I think, first of all, there's so many takeaways from this. The biggest one is, man, get more out of the day and honor the people around you at home, at work. You'll notice that these are 2 super high performing professionals and they're doing a lot of production and just notice the care they're putting to the people that support them on their team. And then notice they're also, Jeremy is on this call. Denise had mentioned that she listened to the Dan Keller call and she's still, she's still training. They're still personally improving. They've got a support team around them that helps them. And then they use tech. I know both these people, they're obsessive with their CRM and they have, Jeremy's done over 3,000 total cost analysis. They don't use a lot of tech. Jeremy doesn't like to learn new tech, but when something works, like his telephone, and mortgage coach and his CRM, he is obsessive. He uses it all the time. So I want to make sure we bring Chuck in real quick and do a few minutes on the innovation conference coming up because it's super busy, but it's also important that we're always working on ourselves. We need to go to some conferences. You could go to too many conferences. You can't go to them all, but you need to go to conferences and you need to make the most out of those conferences. I love Jeremy, how he said he's cutting his appointments down. Funny story, Jeremy reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and said, Dave, I've got a strategy a topic. I need to brainstorm you. When can you schedule 13 minutes? I was like, 13 minutes? So like, it wasn't like he wanted to have a call with me. He wanted to have 13 minutes. So Chuck, the industry's busy, but conferences are still important. So 2 questions for you, Chuck. What does it mean to be a mortgage innovator? And then tell us about the Mortgage Innovation Conference coming up in San Diego this week.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, thank you for inviting me to this call. Not because I get to speak, but I'm just so blown away by the first half hour. Denise, Jeremy, thank you guys so much. And you reminded me why I'm almost in tears. Why I love this business so much, and because of people like you, it's just incredible. And there's so many people that are just so committed to improving themselves all the time and doing what you do. If you want to know what innovation is, just listen to this call. And unfortunately, I've got a lawnmower out the window, so hopefully that doesn't come out too loud. But innovation is really about continuously improving your systems and your processes, right? And so it's a science, and everybody who comes to this call, on a weekly basis is an innovator. It's Kaizen, Dr. Edward Deming, and that's kind of the genesis of innovation. In the mortgage space, there's kind of two areas where it's going on. It's, kind of on the company side of it, it's creating better technology, systems, and processes, get that consumer engaged, and then to get, what our job is in processing is get all that data from the consumer and all the sources and to the end investor who holds the servicing rights on it. So how can you do that the most efficient way? You're working on the consumer engagement, on the selling processes, on adding value to the customers, which is why you can win every day against, maybe the call center type environment. So that's really what it's all about. Systems are really the key in innovation. And, when I was an originator, probably my biggest downfall was not being as disciplined as what I'm hearing on this call. And I closed over 20 loans in a month, a couple times, but, it's that systems, because that's what you can tweak every single day and just improve. And then I look at Mortgage Coach, the platform itself. You guys are innovating. I was hearing about the Mortgage Advisor platform, Dave. So innovation is all around us all the time. You have to do it. That's competition. I think it was Denise talked about, the NFL metaphor. The athletes are taking every second of the day, cramming in there, trying to improve themselves. And that's what innovation is about. So I was fortunate enough to get a chance to run this conference. It's really, a lot of executives, a lot of technology companies, all just getting together to talk about the latest out there. And we've got some brilliant minds, all the way from marketing side all the way to validation. So
who's on stage? Who are some of the keynotes that, I know all your speakers are great, but if there were 3 or 4 that our community should know about that are going to be taking the stage and sharing, who's going to be on stage?
Well, so when I volunteered, I don't think they knew what they were getting themselves into, because when I take innovation literally, and so the first thing I said is I wanted Fannie and Freddie in there, because I think they're at the forefront of innovation with the digital validation services. So Fannie and Freddie are there. Blend will be interviewing with them. So that to me is one of the hallmarks of the conference itself. Bill Dallas is launching it off, so that's always going to be entertaining. You have Dave Zitting. Dave used to be the CEO of Primary Residential, and just a brilliant guy. My first half hour with him, I was like taking notes like a wild man. We have, I'm going to draw a blank now. So those are a couple of the technologies. Brent Chandler from Freeform. So they're putting together a new digital lending platform. It's a consumer wallet basically called Passport. And the future of digital validation of consumers' credentials is going to be where a consumer has this extendable wallet that they can put out there. I apologize about the noise. So that it could always be up to date and then extended out to a loan officer in a company when they're ready to do a loan. So there's a lot of stuff to keep track of out there. Really, to me, for an originator's perspective, it's making sure that you're with a company that's going to get out there and do the right things.
So Chuck, so first of all, everybody doesn't know who Chuck Iverson is. You heard he was a top producer for the past 18 to 20 years. He's been a mortgage executive, the head of sales and production for Sierra Pacific. So both correspondent report to him and had a production report to him. So the guy understands the mortgage business at the lowest level and at the highest level. And I really appreciate you taking time to come here and share. And then thank you for your service to our industry. Anybody that, you're not getting paid big bucks being the co-chair. So thank you for your service. And I've always enjoyed our conversations. I look forward to seeing you in San Diego. Anybody in our community, this isn't a loan officer event, but you should make sure your managers are going, especially if they're within driving distance. It's not too late to sign up. There'll be a link down below to sign up. It's in San Diego. I'm flying in on Sunday, going to see Bill Dallas, hang out with him. And, I've already got a pretty cool dance card of people I'm going to be meeting with. So if you're listening, make sure your managers know about this. And I hope, Chuck, that we put a few more people at your event next week.
Yeah, one thing that had dawned on me, one of the big things that's happening in the industry is this kind of division between the call centers and Quicken and that type of environment with local originators. And most of this conference is really kind of about that. And a lot of people complain about Quicken, but in reality, they're causing us to innovate. The beauty is that there's all these technology providers that are going to put the same tools that Quicken's invested literally almost billions into the originator's hand, but you have to have those things. That's why we're going to have social survey there. Scott Harris, the CEO, is going to interview Rick Arviello, and they're going to talk a lot about that. So a lot of really cool stuff. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. And thank you, Denise and Jeremy, for allowing me to hear what you had to say today. You guys are rock stars. You're the true stars of this industry.
Yeah, right on. Well, these are two very special people. And guys, thanks for staying on this. So we got about 17 minutes left till we wrap up today's Friday Mastermind. Todd, I got a few questions that I make sure I want to hit them both with, but what do you got so far? Because I kind of cut you off a minute ago. Anything you want to cover with Jeremy or Denise?
I was just going to, Jeremy talked about the fact of how he's changed up his scripting with going after listing agents. So I thought, gosh, if he teed that one up, I'd be silly not to follow up and see, Jeremy, if you don't mind sharing what you're doing differently now on that, because I think that'll help some people out.
Sure. And it's not so much that I'm changing my scripts up. I mean, I am a little bit, and I'm happy to share that, but it's really just that's like my hardcore focus when I'm really busy doing refis to make sure my purchase business keeps growing. So I'm making sure that I'm updating them basically at every celebration milestone and like calls saying congratulations. But here's the big one that I'm doing, and I'm happy to share this with you guys. This is the secret, I swear. This is it. I'm going to tell you it 100%, and there's nothing more to it. So I made a list of ways to cater to the listing agent, because I realized about 3 weeks ago that we say we cater to listing agents or to realtors in general, but really we're talking about when do we promote our business to them, which is not catering to them at all. It's really marketing, like giving them a great update and then asking them for a referral. That's not catering to them, like at all. So I came up with a little list, and I started to implement it slowly over the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's working great. So here's one of the things I started doing. And I'm not doing this every time, full disclosure. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate it into my business. But I wrote, I have written 4 of the sellers a handwritten note when we go into contract. The seller, not my client, is the buyer. I'm sorry it's so loud, guys. Hold on 1 second.
You're all good, Jeremy. It's not blowing us up.
Is it not too bad?
Can hear you.
Like,
yeah, it's not too bad.
I feel like I'm at a rave at the airport here. It's making me feel like I'm on psychedelics or something, like talking into this phone and hearing all this stuff in my head. But anyway, so basically catering. So I write the seller a letter, handwritten note, saying, hey, my name is Jeremy Forcier. I'm with Cross Country Mortgage. I'm going to be the lender on the sale of your home. I wanted to let you know how lucky you are to be working with such a great agent that got this into contract. We're going to make sure it's super smooth. Agent name is awesome. You're lucky to be working with them. sent them the handwritten note. Did it 4 times, got 3 callbacks from the listing agents on those saying, hey, did you send my seller a letter? Yes. They were like, at first one was irritated, and then they realized it was a good thing. Right? I'm like, no, I'm supporting. I'm saying that they're lucky to be working with you so that you can have deeper relationship and get more referrals. And they were like, oh, that's really cool. And then I got literally one of the sellers loans application pre-approved for their relocation property. But it's catering. That's not why I was doing it. I was doing it to cater to the listing agent because at the end of the day, they want referrals and they want to look great to their clients. And I want to let their client know, the seller, that they picked the right mortgage person, but that was because they have a great agent. So I started doing that. Number 2 is that I realized that I get closing gifts and stuff for like all of my clients and agents, and we close stuff like little cupcakes and things like that. Why am I not doing that to the listing agent? Why am I not congratulating them and sending them a cupcake or a cookie or a fill in the blank $10 gift or less, right? Why am I not doing that? Why am I not congratulating them on a successful close every time and showing them gratitude? So number 3 is a dynamic interview process. So I've only done this once for the record, but I can send you guys all these questions. I typed it out on scratch paper. I have them all typed out now. So a dynamic interview. So here's what it goes like. So if Todd was the listing agent, I would call them and be like, hey, it's Jeremy Forcier from Cross Country Mortgage. I'm going to be the lender on ABC Cash Flow Lane. Do you have a few minutes because I want to ask you a few questions about your seller to make sure we have a super smooth transaction? She said, sure. So one of the questions that I came up with was, where is your seller relocating to and are they purchasing a new home? Another question I wrote down was, is your seller traveling at any point in time during the transaction? Is your seller traveling at any point in time during the transaction? Number 3, do they already have movers scheduled and a move-in date to their next property? I want to make sure that we're crystal clear on time frames. Number 4, I'm just like an attorney. You can tell me anything. Is there any issues with the property that I should know about in case they pop up so I can start troubleshooting now in advance? So I have a list of these questions that I just came up with and doing a dynamic interview up front with the listing agent to cater to them to make the transaction easier and ultimately to build extreme rapport and have gratitude.
Boom. That's huge. Todd?
No, I just love it. I think about that, right? He's catering, not marketing, right? It's a dynamic interview. And just think of all the gems we've gotten today from both Denise and Jeremy and scripts that you can implement, because I love that Jeremy said he's got to squeeze more juice out of the orange. What were your questions, Dave, that you wanted to ask since we're running short on time?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd say the best marketing is a service. Like when you deliver a service of tangible value, that's the best marketing. You know, I mean, there are text messages that are services. They're valuable updates. That's marketing. You know, a total cost analysis is a valuable deliverable of advice. You know what? It's good selling and marketing. So I love that, Jeremy. And if you do have anything written up, if you could either take a picture and put it in comments. You know, someone just commented down below saying, hey, can I get a copy of that? We'll do what we can, guys. Yeah, we'll do what we can.
No, it's my pleasure. I'll share it.
And you know, yeah, this call's been so epic. I'm going to have it transcribed. And if you're watching the recording, there'll be a link in a day down below with a transcription to it. So Denise, I want to make sure
I got to go, guys. Love you guys. I got to board an airplane.
Love you, brother. Have a super nice day, bro. All right. That was sweet, Jeremy. So Denise, first of all, is there anything you want to say, any commentary or color? You don't get to ask Jeremy a question, sorry, but any color or commentary before I ask you a question?
No, just that, you know, going after the listing agent is low-hanging fruit. You know, I remember when I was a new loan officer, I got in this business in 2012, and it was April of 2012. I didn't have a single database, and kind of like to Jeremy's point, thankfully in 2012, the interest rates were really low. So even though I didn't have a database to go after or really know how to give a value prop to the real estate agents, because I came from the big bank world, I'd never done a purchase transaction. When I left the big bank and joined a mortgage bank, I'd never in my life done a purchase transaction, not once. So I was deathly afraid of them because those are different than refinances. But in 2012, you could pick up a phone book and call almost anybody, because if they had a 30-year fixed rate, it probably wasn't going to be as low as what those rates were. So I just say that because when I put the hat on of going back to the 2012 and 2013, when I attended these conferences like you're talking about, my eyes were like in awe. And everything that Jeremy and I are saying right now, even if you get 3 contracts a month, you have to know that that listing agent on the other side of the deal is your chance to go after them. And it's a warm transaction. It's a warm contact where you don't have to cold call them and you don't have to beg them for coffee. And so if you're doing a couple deals a month and you're trying to grow, I would say that should be something that you laser focus on, because it's an easy way to start wowing them, to teach them how you handle your business and how you handle buyers. And I'll just share one thing with you guys. Every time a client goes under contract with us, we send out a care package. And it was something I did for a long time. And I realized that not only did my buyer's agent not know that I was doing that, even though I had probably communicated it at some point in time, it was out of sight, out of mind. And so I programmed in my CRM, okay, it's kind of like Amazon. When you buy something on Amazon and it says such and such product has shipped, now when that milestone hits in my system, there's an email that automatically goes out to the buyer's agent with a picture of the care package we just sent. And in the subject line, it says buyer care package, and it says shipped in all caps. And it says, hey, Dave, just wanted to let you know, we've sent the below care package to your buyer. We know buying and selling can be super stressful. So it's a little something from the 2 of us. So it's branded from the 2 of us that's catering to your buyers or to your agents' needs, because they don't have the system in play to do that, that put a smile on their face. And so they get it in the mail and they're super surprised. And then I thought to myself, well, why am I not doing that to the listing agent and showing the listing agent? We do the same thing with the closing gift. And so my point is you've got to implement those little things. I don't care if it's just a small little thing that you're doing. Sometimes we forget to communicate it to our agents. And since we started doing that, it's been a game changer. And we have picked up more business this year, Dave, from listing agents seeing our process. They love our milestone updates. They love our text message updates. So to Chuck's point, innovation, I love innovation. Texting with our CRM has been a game changer for us. Everybody gets emails now. It's not as sexy as it used to be. A lot of companies have the robotic CRMs. You got to be different. Implement texting. That's been huge. And just inform them of what you're doing to cater, because sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind.
Love it. So let's make sure we at least shine a light on how you're going consumer first to first-time home buyers. I don't think we need to go in a lot of detail because, guys, I interviewed Denise on how she's using the rent versus own to generate leads on social media. I put a link down below so you can check it out if you haven't already watched it. But give us a high-level update on what you're doing to go consumer first and get to that first-time home buyer with the Mortgage Coach Rent versus Own.
Okay, so I read a book recently, and it has nothing to do with mortgage and really marketing, but it's all about generations and the number of people that are in each generation. So like the number of births that were in the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and all that kind of stuff. And it's very interesting. I'm an economics nerd, so I got that information. I was like, wow, we all know that the largest group of people buying homes are first-time home buyers. And they're usually, and not all, but usually there's an age, range for those. And so in my mind, I want to be in this business for another 20 years. Most loan officers and even real estate agents go after the higher end purchase prices or the bigger loan amounts, but I'm in this for the long haul. So I want to fill my pipeline up with as many first-time home buyers as I can, because guess what? They're going to be the ones that outgrow their house faster. And if I can provide them a level of service on their first loan, I know that they become a Nerd Club member, which is a whole nother video that we can do. But I know I'll get their repeat business. And so I go after that market hard. I love that market. And a lot of them are renting and they have fears about buying. And so go out into your marketplace, poll people, if you're currently renting, why? Why are you still renting? And when you show them the numbers of the rent versus own analysis that we can do, it is mind-blowing to people, because again, everybody talks about owning is better, but I want to see it for myself. That's how these kind of millennials are, is they want to see the proof in the pudding, not just because dad or grandpa says it's better. I want to see the proof in the pudding. And then I'm going to tie that $100,000, let's say, to what Jeremy was talking about, to the emotional tie of, if your goal is to travel every single year and go overseas for a week, then let's put together a strategy to help you do that every single year. And so it is mind-blowing what we can do. And let me tell you, it takes like 5 minutes to put this strategy together. And when I do strategies like this, I will oftentimes go on Facebook Live and Instagram Live. I have a private realtor group that is private, that you have to get in by doing business with me. I show them this. And when you show real estate agents this is helping them get people off the fence who are like, you know what, I'm going to wait a year before I buy. Well, let me show you what waiting a year, Dave, I have another video I can share with you on the cost of waiting 1 year to buy, taking into account the average home appreciation and interest rates. So it's like, here's rent versus own. Oh, you want to wait a year because you want to save more money. And let's be honest, how are you going to drastically change your habits where you're going to be able to save enough money? Nobody ever does. If you take that appreciation rate and you do an analysis of, here's where we're at today versus waiting 1 year, you're not going to save up enough money to now afford that same house with the way that DFW is exploding right now. But you've got to be able to have a tool like you've created for us to show people the numbers. That is the motivating factor. You're associating the fear of, if I don't do this, holy crap, I'm going to spend $115,000 in rent, which is like throwing money down the toilet. I've now shown them the numbers that's the motivating factor. That's like, okay, let's do this.
So Denise, first of all, I don't want to ask so many favors that you have to tell me no. So don't answer yes or no right now, but you can email me off record. But if there is any chance you could come to Tuesday's call, even if it was only for 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and kind of show us that, cost of waiting, what a year costs, that would be cool. And if Tuesday between 9 and 10 doesn't work, schedule something, I'll record that. Because I think that would be badass. I think our community would get a lot of value from that. And here's the deal, guys. If you're not keeping in touch with your past customers and providing an annual review, you do not have a client for life business. You may say you do, but you don't. You heard from 2 people now that are killing it. These are not the 1% in the business. These guys are the 1% of the 1%. And so you gotta get after it. Denise, so grateful for you spending an hour with us today. And with the production you do, the money you make, it's a big gift to the community. So I appreciate it. Todd, anything you want to say as we wrap up today's call?
No, I just think it was an epic call. I'm, interested to hear what Chuck's going to be talking about next week at the technology conference. Always grateful to get some FaceTime with Denise and Jeremy. Denise, you just crushed it. And I think you hit the nail on the head, right? If you don't have a program, if you're not communicating with your database, guess what? Somebody else is. If you're not refinancing your database, guess what? Somebody else is, or at least trying to, and they need you. And so I love, Denise, what you're doing in the education. And, Dave, of course, obviously this is the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind community, and there's just no better tool out there to show it. Denise hit the nail on the head that they want to see it. And there's a ton of gems here, and I'm looking forward to read the transcription. And I see you're taking off. So I'll let you say the final.
No, I just got to get out of my room. So Todd or Chuck, anything you want to say as we wrap up today's call?
I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be on this call, primarily just to get the content and to get the vibe of this community. It's truly outstanding, and I just want to say I really appreciate it.
All right, Denise, you get the final word.
It's Friday. That's what I'm excited about. It's Friday. Let's make it a good day. I appreciate all that you do for our community, Dave and Todd. It's amazing. Whenever I feel like I need some motivation, I can just pop on, and I always learn something, and we wouldn't have that ability if you didn't hustle and put stuff like this together, which I know is not easy, and being a marketer and coming up with content is not easy. So I just appreciate for everything that you do for us in the community.
Well, it's, on behalf of Dave and myself and Mortgage Coach and Win by Noon, it's totally our pleasure. And we appreciate you guys all being here, and we'll see you. Oh, there he is back. We will see you all next week.
I'm back. Hey, if you got value, give us a like. If you loved it like I did, I'm going to love this. Love it. Share it with your mortgage friends, and take care, everybody.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.